What really stood out to me, man, just from watching your highlight video, just come from the first few plays, is just your size that you are. I mean, being that defensive line, having that thickness, you can just tell it in your body. Being able to use your strength is really the big thing from your size. You're not just big. Some guys are just big, but you're big, but you're physical and you use your size well. Okay, that's just one of the things that really stood out to me. Now, my suggestions for your highlight video are the following. The first thing is to add an information slide at the very beginning. Okay, and the best way to do this is to go on Canva. Okay, this is free. You're going to go on there. You'll do a slide, and on the slide, you're going to have your name, school, graduation year, position, height and weight, X account, email, and phone number. All right, put all that information on the left, put a picture of you on the right, download that from Canva, upload that to the very first thing on your Huddle highlight video. All right. And there's a few reasons we want to do this. First is because that way when a coach pulls up your film, all of your information is right there at the very beginning. Okay, he doesn't have to try to go find it. All right, he's got the tangibles of your height and weight. They've got how to follow you on X, okay, which is a very big part and what we'll talk about a little bit later. And then also how to contact you via phone number. Okay, because sometimes if coach has to go find you on X and try to track down your phone number, their time is short and valuable. They're going to pass on kids. I personally have had to where I have to try to find a kid on X and I eventually cannot find him. Okay, and after so long, it's like, all right, I can't keep wasting my time on this. I got to go on. And so it's like I basically kind of lose being able to get in touch with that kid I want to have. Okay, so that's why we want to have that information for that coach, and that's all the information they're going to need as well in that recruiting process. Okay, so we're giving all that to them right away. Okay, moving on, going to removing plays plus any non-highlights. All right, and these are more anything that doesn't showcase your strength or transfer to the next level as much. All right, let's say you're a 10 on a coach's board. How can we maybe take these plays out and move that needle for you to where now you're a 5, a 3, or a 2 on a coach's board? Okay, and these are not bad plays. Do not get me wrong. Just sometimes, like I'll give you an example here. The ones I've got listed here at the 115 mark. All right. It's just more something of, it's kind of hard just to see more than anything else. All right. And that's where we don't want it to hinder you. Okay. So that's where sometimes just taking that out a little bit helps in that standpoint. All right. And then the other one you had at the 221 mark was the one where you had to run about 15 yards down the field to make that ankle tackle. And that's just one of those, that's a great effort play, but that's where the head coach is going to talk about, hey, this kid gives us effort all the time. And just that type of thing to where now that doesn't showcase more what you can do more so on the field to show your strengths of what we want to show. Okay. Yeah, you have a high motor and everything else. That's going to be delivered. That's going to be shown within your film. Okay. So taking those plays out will really help out in that standpoint. Now, removing captions. Okay. And this is more the spot shadows that you have that say wait for it. Okay. So just change that spot shadow. You did have a few plays on there that did not have spot shadows. So I'm going to point that out right now. So make sure you add those in as well. Okay. So remove the spot shadows that say wait for it, and then removing the background sound on some of your plays. It's not all of them. So you just need to make sure you check on some because there was quite a few in there. All right, same thing on with those spot shadows that say wait for it, okay? And the reason we want to take those out is because we don't want to have anything that's going to distract that called recruiter from evaluating your film, okay? And with how this kind of goes of recruiters are sitting in an office, and this is what I did. The room is dark. They've got a lamp on and they're playing music. Just you're in a zone. Okay, coach is getting a zone. They're sitting there evaluating. And sometimes when something, and they're watching 60 to 100 kids in a day, mind you. Okay, so when something kind of comes up of a background sound or music from the highlight video or a caption or something like that, it kind of throws off the rhythm, kind of gets them out of their zone. So we don't want to have anything that's going to distract you from that. All right, so take that stuff out. Next, moving to the sequence of plays, and this is more just kind of the flow of the film. Okay, now on the defensive line side, we want to start with your turnovers. So that's your forced fumbles, fumble recoveries. All right. Then we want to move to your sacks and then to your TFLs. All right. So tackle for losses or anything more disruptive at the line of scrimmage. And then we want to follow that up with your remaining defensive highlight. All right. And the remaining defensive highlight is not necessarily one of these like statistical side of it, like your turnovers, your sacks, your TFLs, but still showcases what you can do well. All right. Now, within each of these sections, okay, you want to have your best play to start each of these sections, okay, and then kind of follow suit. So your second best play with that, and your third, and follow suit with that, okay. Now, the reason being we want to do that is because we want to keep these coaches watching early. Like I said, they're watching 60 to 100 kids in a day. So after a minute, if they don't see anything, they're going to pass on a kid and go to the next one. So we want to put all those best plays at the beginning, like we've got here, the turnovers, the sacks, and that's usually kind of what they're looking for, okay. So, and with that being said, in each section, you want to have about maybe 3 to 4 to 5, maybe 6 clips. Now, that can be a give or take. Say you've only got 1 or 2 turnovers. Now you can add in a few more TFLs because within your video, kind of like what you have here is a good time frame. You only want to be 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. All right, so kind of sequencing all that and how that goes. Now, the clips that I have timestamped here, these are the ones that I would start out with each one, okay, because this is what I see as your best play. So going to the 106 mark here. All right, this is your forced fumble that you had a part of. All right, so like I said, get rid of that spot shadow there. Boom, getting in on it, driving that tackle back. That's a great job. Boom, you see the ball pop out when you hit him. Okay, that is a great job. Next, going to the 22-second mark. All right, with your sacks. Okay, this is a great job of making the quarterback. So boom, we got outside contained. Great job. He's not able to go outside. He's got to step up. We come off our block. We get the sack. That is technique right there of being sound and disciplined in how you play. That is a great one to put for your sack. Okay. That's a great job. Next, going to your TFLs. Okay, backing up just a little bit before this on the 16-second mark. Okay, really getting a straight shot, showing your physicality, showing that boom, just firing off the ball. That's what they want to see in that side of it. Okay, now going to the 204 mark, and this is why we want to put these plays at the beginning. Okay, and kind of rearrange our situation of where we're at because, like I said, after a minute, if they don't see something, they're going to pass. So we want to get this clip up there because they're looking for certain things. All right, Bino trying to get a down block. We squeeze it. Okay. then we take, make sure we get in our stance right here. Boom, take that block on for the counter kick out, and we're able to make the tackle and make this big offensive lineman miss. Okay, that's a great job showing that size, showing that strength. Okay, and the technique as well. Next, we want to go to the 125 mark for your TFLs. Okay, we'll back it up to 124. Boom. Okay, so great job again, taking on this tackle outside, keeping it. All right, not letting him force outside, coming up and being able to make that tackle. So, like I said on that side, great job there. That's why I would order those ones and then follow suit with the rest of them. Now, going to the 411 mark. Okay, could kind of show you an example of the remaining defensive highlights. All right, so. Like I said, this is just showing how disruptive. Yeah, we don't necessarily make the tackle or anything like that for the TFL, but we're showing the disruptiveness we're making for the linebackers to be able to come through. Okay, so those are the type of plays we want to have. Now, like I said, put that information slide. Okay, remove those plays, take out the spot shadows. I say wait for it, remove the sound, change the flow of everything, and overall, this will provide a more dynamic highlight video for college coaches. All right. Now, going over the game film feedback, let's take a look at what divisions you should target. I'm basing this off of the most recent highlight video, which is exactly what college coaches are going to do and where the athlete can receive a scholarship right now. Like I said, the video we just went over, that's what I'm basing this off of. All right, and also understand this is a current evaluation opposed to a projected evaluation. Okay, we're not projecting, this is on current. So, and this is based on a few criteria. First thing is your graduation year. All right, use this as an advantage. You have a couple of off seasons to develop and keep growing and seeing where things are going to go. All right, so you're getting ahead of the game, knowing what we're going at, what coaches are looking for. Okay, so but they're also looking for size, foot speed, flexibility, and power strength. As a D line, that's what they want to see. Okay, and with that being said, the levels you should look at today for a scholarship are upper D3 to lower to mid NAI. All right, now you may start getting interest from these schools. Okay, depending from these college coaches at these levels. Okay, you may start getting interest. If you are, great. Now, if you're not, let's start this communication process. They're emailing these coaches, calling these coaches. Okay, they may not be able to talk to you yet, but now we're ahead of the game. They've got our film. Okay, they know of, hey, when we go to camps this summer, they're going to know, hey, coach, I've sent you my film. Hope you can watch it at some point in time. Okay, they know that you've started that process. All right, that's going to help you out. You need to start getting your name out there through social media, following these coaches on X and DMing these coaches. That is going to be big, especially for with the graduation year you have. Okay, like I said, they may not be able to talk to you, but you following them on X, sending them that updated highlight video. Once you get it, boom, restructured and the flow and everything, take those things out, boom, send it to them. That way they know they're getting it. All right, you need to make sure you're marketing and branding yourself in the correct way, doing things on and off the field in the right way as well is going to be big. And then, like I said, when you go attend these prospect camps, we know we can go aim at these levels and we can introduce ourselves to these coaches and start that relationship building. Because you go and see them in person, you can talk to them, right? So that's going to be big for you. Making sure we're going to these levels of camps, putting our money towards the right camps instead of these mega camps where there's 1,000 kids and we kind of get lost in the shuffle, okay? Now, here's the deal. You started this relationship with this coach. You've been in contact. You've gone to camps. Then when you send them that mid-season highlight, they're going to know who they're watching. They're going to have that relationship with you a little bit, all right? It makes it easier for them to be able to evaluate you and build that. But here's the deal. How can we also go attack these levels and get better? My suggestion to improve your game that translates to college football and possibly a higher division are the following. Okay, first thing is strength and power. We talked about it, but we also got to keep continuing to grow. Doing this with the weight room, strength training, we got to add good weight to that frame. Okay, you got to be able to explode out of that stance. We can't be as maybe a half step slower. We got to be able to explode quicker. Got to be able to showcase that functional strength and power on film. Bull rush, pass brush. Okay, kind of like you showed before. Just keep developing that. Flexibility is going to be huge for the D line. All right, that's that pre and post training stretching. If you guys don't do it as a team, do it on your own. That's part of that individual work, and also before you go to bed and when you wake up, because this stretching is going to also improve pad level against run or pass. Okay, this is going to help prevent injury prevention. And here's the deal: your best ability is your availability. So if we're dinged up and nicked up, all right, and that's going to hurt our chances on film, which is then going to hurt our chances for an offer. Okay, at the high school level, but then you go to the college level, if we're dinged up and nicked up in college and not taking care of our body, then that's going to hurt us on the depth chart. Okay, so we've got to take care of that flexibility. Working on foot speed, doing dot drills, ladder drills. All right, be the fastest and the first off the snap. You understand those precious little seconds make a huge difference. Okay, you've got to beat that O-line with that first step. All right, it's going to give you that huge advantage. And then lastly, continuing D-line technique development. All right, showcasing block destruction. Keep working on that so it's going to translate to your film. Okay, have to be able to shut off one-on-one blocks. How are you going to be able to go when you get a double team? Okay, coaches want to see that. All starts with the fundamentals as well. Your stance, footwork, and hand accuracy. Keep working on that all the time. Don't think you've got it satisfied. They do it in the pros. They're working on fundamentals, so why are we any better? Okay, you've got to keep working on that. The ability to reset the line of scrimmage. Coaches are going to look for guys that are resetting the line of scrimmage downfield or in the backfield. All right, you get pushed back or you get in the line of scrimmage in the backfield. Okay, and here's the deal. Working on these details, you're going to have to be ahead of the game because in college you do it all the time. You're going to have a good development of them, so that's going to help you be better prepared when you hit that college level. All right, which is then going to help you on your depth chart later on when playing. Okay, but these improvements are what a D-line college coach will look at. So we got to double down, do all these things, hit it hard, all right? And if it translates to your video, this can help you level up your evaluation and possibly have an opportunity, all right, at that upper NAI to lower to mid D2 level, okay? But Dakota, at the end of the day, man, everything will come down to your individual work, your outreach, as well as your marketing on social media. Like I said, for you and your graduation year, that portion is big. And, which is huge in college football, is that relationship building with college coaches, all right? Which is why the next step is your athlete interview, where you're going to get an interview with a coach and get coached on your communication and your interviewing skills. which is critical for the conversations you're about to start having with college coaches. So make sure you watch the video beforehand and be ready to go. If you have any questions, we'll be able to answer them at the end of the interview. Thank you.